Hey folks, SeKo Starcraft game 2 between, what's the names? There we are. Tod versus Thorzain. Really strong first game there out of Tod. We saw a really cool mech style out of Thorzain, but the problem with going mech is that it takes so much longer for you to get out the upgrades because the gas requirements for going mech are so heavy that you fall behind very quickly in upgrades, and we saw Tod with 2-2 before 1-1 was even finished for Thorzain, and Tod with a very simple gateway army. No immortals, no colossus, no starport. Stargate? Sure. Just walked over Thorzain, essentially. Even with a bunch of hellbats against zealots, having that 2-2 just allowed them to mow through there so effectively. It's a bit of a longer game, so we're going to speed it up a bit at the beginning. I know you guys can tell if it's a longer game, but you can see how long the video is on YouTube. Probably going to see a fairly safe open for both these players. Last game, we didn't have an expansion first out of either person. And I don't assume we're going to see the same. Maybe doing some studying on each other, they found that both people are very aggressive, and neither of them want to lose to some sort of early cheese or rush. One gas after gateway allows him to get up his cyber core nice and quick. We're going to see an SCV scout. We do not have gas this time out of Thorzain. No, he'll get his expansion much quicker this time. There was some really good harassment out of Thorzain. Oh, it looks like he's going to try to be a bit of a dick. Didn't really set back Tod very much from the looks of that, because he just got out another stalker. Now it goes down to the Nexus. So bunkers down, 4 Marines in it, doing just fine. This time we will be seeing bioplay. Are we going to see a factory coming down at all? See, this is interesting. I like the fact that you put a supply depot at the front to be able to spot. The problem is, a couple of stalkers down here in the mothership core, you'll snipe away some of your buildings for free. It's kind of a lose-lose situation. If you put them up here, then you get sniped. If you don't put them up here, you'll get scouted and killed completely to shit. We saw a single Reaper go out to go get some scouting done. We saw a Marine poke out just to see if there's anything crazy out on the front. Oops, come back. There we go. Unfortunately, there's not going to be anything super crazy to see out of Tod here. Bad force field. But once again, same build as last time. Really fast upgrades on all sides. Should be able to get that Reaper out there just fine. Really fast upgrades, super safe play with the cannons, one in each mineral line. Assume we get a second down here eventually. And then just gateway focus. Nothing else too crazy about it, just very simple, straight up play. Did Tod even see this? That's funny. Yes, he does see that army coming out. Good control out of Thorzain. Probably won't even end up losing a unit. Actually doesn't even take damage on a single unit. Great control. Nexus cannon should be able to hold back this army. What he's got to make sure doesn't happen is get his force field in place and lose a bunch of units needlessly. See this? The photon overcharge on the Nexus shuts down so much. Ugh, not great control there out of Thorzain. The Nexus cannon shuts down so much early Terran pressure. These Marine Marauder pushes early on. They used to be able to do really good damage. Now just can't really compete. Looks like he's got a couple more units here. Still don't think it's enough to risk pushing in on. Lots of scouting going on from Thorzain. The interesting thing about Tod is he doesn't leave any pylons anywhere around the map in advance. What he has done, though, instead, is when he's ready to push out, and he thinks he's going to be making an attack soon, is when he throws out the single probe. And I like putting the pylon in the middle as well, but it seems like Seems like Thorzain knows my tricks just as well. Oh yes. Had some beers for lunch, so now I'm feeling a little bit bagged. Do we see the fast third? Yes, we do. We saw the same thing out of Thorzain last game, trying to get up that third base in that economy. What's the interesting thing about last game is that if Thorzain had made it and had lived, he would have for sure won because his economy is so far ahead. We've got 0-1 with +1 armor finishing up pretty soon. Looks like he actually lost a handful of units there needlessly. 1-1 has already finished with the protoss. 2-2 is going to be done pretty quick. Same thing with Zealot charge once again. I like this style. I think it's very unconventional to go for this really heavy gateway composition, because unless you have out a lot of units, you know, from the Terran side, because obviously Vikings kill Colossus, but there isn't anything that's just really going to stand against this big ball unless you have out ghosts or something of that nature. That's going to shoot that factory for the next 10 minutes. A little bit of a contain from the Terran player. The problem with this is you can get caught off guard really easy if you're not careful. Get force fielded, and then the Zealots will close on top of your army really fast. So you got to be very careful about those kinds of leaving your army laying around outside of the protoss player. Terran player is going to be moving into his next base. Command center is finished, not on its way yet though. The army is going to be coming home. If we look at the protoss player, he's got the exact same composition as last time, waiting for a couple of archons to pop. And then he's going to be moving out to put pressure onto the map. Archons obviously soak up a lot of damage, and at 2-2 with the splash against a bio will do a really, really good job. Interesting idea here of doing the wall off. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I mean, you're going to have to against this kind of giant, overly upgraded Protoss ball. That needs to start on 3-3 here pretty soon. Doesn't have the gas to support it though on 2 bases just yet. Third going down. Scouted by Thorzain. So he's going to lose a couple of Marines there, but not too big of a deal. This is the kind of interesting thing we used to see a lot that Flash should do against players. Drop down a bunch of buildings in the front. They're pretty cheap in the grand scheme of things. They block a lot of damage, and they will really slow down pushes from the opponent. He needs to get out his upgrades to try to get on a better footing, because being down 2 full upgrades is going to be pretty bad. Ooh, that's what I was talking about. You gotta be careful about those force fields. Thorzain does pick them up. Does have this base up and going, doing just fine. I don't think that's a full wall off. It can't be. One Marine's going all the way by himself. I do like the idea of a little drop going up here for the space. He knows that it's here. There is a High Templar here. Storm is not being researched right now. Just there for feedbacks against medevacs at the time being. This Marine will see this and get just essentially annihilated in a terrible way. Looks like you wanted to try and get out a few QC Widow Mines. May end up just losing that factory. It's not a big deal. That means he wouldn't be able to get another starport just until he gets out a couple more things. Looks like his Zealot runby is actually doing some pretty good damage here. With the snipes, the Ghost does manage to help clean that up. Crazy looking wall off here at the front. That's a lot of snipes, and he only got 1 Zealot for it. A little bit of damage on another, though not a very effective use of energy. I wouldn't be opposed to a few more cannons going down. Just so that way you never really have to worry about that top base. Some more Zealots going for a run by. Thorzain has a pretty good army, but not that big of an army. Looks like Tod does not really want to tangle with Thorzain right now with the ghosts. Does have his colossus out now though, and there's nothing really in place for the Terran to deal with this. He does not have Vikings out yet. He is getting another starport and +1 air. This is actually a really important drop. Oh, Nexus Cannon, you bugger. Great position from Thorzain right now. That is a lot of ghosts. Small drop at the top. Trying to just be as much of a dick as you can. These Zealots have not run in. They could maybe get a little bit of damage in, but the rallied units are doing just fine about that. Picked off a probe or two before those guys go down. He knew they were going to go down anyways, as Marauders fall to pieces. Another good chunk of army coming out here for Tod. Lots of ghosts in this composition. Is he paying attention though? Yep, just sees that in time. Very careful, he can lose an army really fast to a protoss one if you're not paying attention. Oh yes. That is a lot of Zealots. 3-3's now finally started. The Terran is ahead now in upgrades. That was a lot of wasted EMPs there. I know he hit a few units, but really he didn't actually get that much damage in. Yeah, I know my computer's lagging. There's not much I can do about that. Thorzain's... These Zealots are soaking up so much damage. The Colossus are just not getting taken out. Blink is finished. That's going to be really, really helpful for picking off a few medevacs. The problem is you're guaranteed to lose all of your ghosts in a retreat like this because your ghosts don't have stim pack to run away. These units are so badly beat up right now from Thorzain. Tod has pulled out a supply lead. Looks like 4th bases for both these players going down at a similar time. Plus, Colossus picking off a few buildings just to try to slow down his Terran opponent. Not being able to get any pot shots off really on this Colossus switch, though it wasn't like super aggressive or anything. The double robo Colossus switch is doing super well. It was interesting that he got up to high Templar attack, but never really focused on getting storms. This base is going to go Planetary Fortress, and I'm quite certain Protoss does not know about it. He does not. 4th base going down for him. Neither of these players have any bank, and neither of them have really maxed out this game either. Problem with that SCV now is his opponent should know that there is a base to the bottom. Nothing but ghosts and Vikings out right now. The Terran player. What the hell's up with all those SCVs? Maybe he had too many down here. He's risking losing too many of them if that base gets taken on. Yeah, loses a couple of ghosts, a couple of Vikings. I really like Tod's position right now. It seems like Thorzain might be up slightly on economy with his base up sooner. But just the power of this army of Tod is going to be so tough for this bio composition to deal with. This base, look at all these Colossus. You need like 12 Vikings to deal with it. He's got 12, no more than 12 Vikings. He's going to lose all his units anyways. Might have taken out a couple of Zealots, but the Zealots are 3-3 right now. It's not going to matter too much. Dark Shrine going down just to be able to maybe put on a few runbys. not much for detection in any of these bases right now. The problem is for Thorzain is he's mined so hard on his bases that he doesn't really have, this base is already done, he doesn't really have something to fall back on now. He needs to get a 4th base up. He's going to try to. Pew. See, these colossus need to hover around these cliffs or something to try to get off a few pot shots. The stalkers blink forward, then your army can pick them off. But those colossus are going to rip through anything the Terran tries to do right now. +2 air, more Vikings. Storm is on the way now, you might as well. So that way if, let's say the colossus all get killed. Yeah, we don't mind. If the colossus all get killed, you at least have all the storms to transition into and make those Vikings essentially useless. More gateways. I agree with him trying to get more and more gateways. Maybe throw down another like 6. Trade your army. You've got a bank. And then be able to recover it more quickly. Slash. He is in the pieces. Zealot runbys are super fun. Whenever I play as a protoss player for whatever reason, if it gets anywhere into the middle late game, Warp Prism or Zealot runbys, so cost effective when you've got a lot of minerals laying around. Even more Zealots. That's a lot of Zealots. Lots of Vikings. That is a lot of Vikings. The problem is they stack up and the Archons will rip through those. They get caught in the wrong engagement. Very conservative play out of both these players. Neither person really wants to make the commitment. Alright, DT time. That was a funny scan. Well, one guy gets owned in the face. I don't think that's enough Zealot to deal with this. Looks like he loses 1 Marine. Almost lost the bunker. Todd's starting to take the whole map now. There's not too much a Terran can really do about it. He's not been using drops. Having the cannons in place has really helped neutralize that. Well, here comes that big push. Well, that's a lot of Vikings. Yeah. Coincidentally enough, even with all those Vikings, Tod is still making more Colossus. Did have to force a lift on that base. Ugh. Can't afford to lose those Colossus. You're gonna stop and repair those up. On this side now, Thorzain does know there's a base up here. This base is mine. This one's done. This one's done. This one's fresh. The Terran player really only has this. He needs to keep this thing alive. There's some stalker attacks on this side would be good. He's moving his Widow Mines into position to deal with that. If that is the case. Picking off what he can. Always do the damage you can do that's guaranteed. It's not going to supply block his opponent for a long time, but we'll be able to get a little bit of damage in. It's obviously going to cost something for Thorzain to repair. Oh, he gets it in time. So we're back in this position here. Thorzain down quite a bit in army. He's not been able to afford to repair up his Vikings, so those might get slaughtered next attack. And our probes are even getting the shield upgrade here to +2 and +3 is almost finished with plasma shields. Little Zealot run by. Once again, will probably get dealt with the Widow Mines fairly effectively. And he's repairing up those Vikings. He's going to need them. How many Colossus did he get, actually? Did he cancel them? Nope, he only ended up getting the one. Very smart. Those Vikings are not going to be very useful. Instead, moving into Immortals, which should do very well against any of the... Ooh, Storm drop. Storm run by. Great spot on the bunker. Gotta repair that bunker, though. Still gonna go down, it looks like. This is kind of a slow death right now for Thorzain. Just getting picked apart just little by little. There's not much you can do about it. His army has not grown at all in the last like 5 minutes. Whereas his opponent is now starting to bank resources with all the bases he has available. There you go. The Archon is valuable to kill. Observer's kicking around there. This army is probably just going to be the death of Thorzain. Lots of Immortal Storms, only one Colossus, so even if it does get shot down, who really cares? 2 Immortals at a time. Very interesting tech choice. I still expect it to just own through these Marauders that are down here anyways. Man, those DTs do so much damage. Damage versus 55 shield, 55 health, and how much shields? 3. Still one hitting at that. So much damage. Tod's maxed out now. I know he's playing a little bit safe. He's got all the bases in the world. He's got army everywhere. He's got runbys everywhere. He's got his big army full of immortals. He does have ghosts, but short of landing a couple miracle nukes, I don't really think there's anything that Thorzain can do to get through this. This has got to be so unbelievably annoying for Thorzain. Well, it's not giving up, but assuming Tod at some point is just going to say I've had enough of this and push in. I'm expecting like Manor Nexuses and stuff like that to come out and start shooting at people. He did blow a lot of his bank remaking his units. I don't know what Thorzain's big plan here is. I mean, he can't push to another base. Maybe sneaking a gold or something, but he's got pylons in the middle everywhere. These bases are completely untouched. Probably could use to transfer some of those out of there. Man. I've not seen a player in this good of a position for a long time. Those Zealots were warped in for shits and giggles. Well, this base is gone. Oh, nice. Scans and takes out the observer. That's really funny. Down go these command centers. This was real. There's much here to mine from left, anyways. But that was just the only thing that the Terran had going for him. He's got 9 or 10 SCVs left to make his entire economy off of. If he was going to all in, he might as well have all in like 10 minutes ago. Oh man. GG. I know Thorzain's really good, but he's looking like he got manhandled these last couple of games there. Not a great showing for him, I don't think. But regardless, great play out of Tod. Hope you guys liked that little micro series. Looks like this round it goes to Tod for the World Championship Series. And we'll see you guys later.